And you love history, you're going to love Toni On New York this weekend. Toni sent a caller on the east side with a sneak peek at what she's working on.
Okay, guys, I have the hippest way to celebrate Valentine's Day if you like amazing music, great soul food, and awesome New York history. But before we get to that, this week I sat down with jazz legend Wynton Marsalis, and we talked about what many consider to be America's greatest cultural contribution to the world.
To some, it may seem like a long road from Louisiana to artistic director at Jazz at Lincoln Center, but the welcoming and gentle musician is humbled by the fact that his passion for this art form has led him to where he is today.
It is the great American cultural contribution because it so successfully objectifies our libertarian democratic way of living. And it's something that never existed in music before.
It undeniably started in New Orleans, but jazz's New York roots can be traced back to Harlem, to all-night illegal rent parties, and later to the infamous Cotton Club.
So Duke Ellington had his band in the Cotton Club, and it became famous because of the radio broadcast. But the band was known as the Jungle Band. And it was a tradition of people coming from downtown, uptown, that they were going to get the dark experience. Though there was the backdrop of this whole kind of racial patronizing tone, we can't look at that time through the eyes of this time.
The club closed in 1936, but today the history of jazz is still alive and swinging in Harlem and can be felt firsthand with a trip to the Lenox Lounge, also known as Billie Holiday's second home.
They say that Billie Holiday was here all the time. They even enshrined one of the seats and put her picture over it.
In fact, right here at Lenox Lounge is where you may bump into Duke Ellington's granddaughter, like we did. Now, if you don't know where else to go, Big Apple Jazz's Gordon Palatnik leads historic tours every weekend. And do yourself a favor, people, because they are fabulous. You can even visit Louis Armstrong's home in Corona, Queens. It's now a museum, and it's totally free. The really cool thing is that you can hear recordings the great musician made of himself just hanging out at home with his wife.
She'll fix something I never had in my life before. She gave me a room and made a den out of it. You know what I mean? That really knocked me out because we couldn't afford no den, and them early days, we better sleep in that room.
Now, if you want to learn more about jazz's New York history, all you got to do is tune into my show, Toni On New York, this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And if you want to score 50% off tickets, that jazz club crawl, just check out my website, ToniOnNewYork.com. It's a great date idea, even if you hate Valentine's Day. And I think this has Watkins